Hey again, guys. Do you know what I like to do when a storm breaks out of nowhere? I like to look at some baseball cards. So, is it just me? Or is the hobby kind of back to normal, only a little better? I don't know what you think, but to me, the hobby's feeling good. You know, coming back from the National, the hobby feels really good. And I wasn't feeling that way prior to going to the National. But the hobby is starting to kind of correct itself a bit. Things aren't perfect, but I'm really happy with the direction the hobby's going. And seeing young collectors give me hope. Some of these young collectors, it's nice to see. You know, a lot of us old vintage collectors, we always, a lot of us couldn't understand the ridiculous prices of the ultra modern cards. And, we always felt like vintage, especially the big names, was the place to be for some of these. If you like to invest and you want your cards to retain value and, you're not trying to double your money in a half a day. And it's funny because I saw Jeff Wilson. They were asking him if he had anything to do over again, what would it be? And he said he would get into vintage and recommend vintage, I guess. And it's like, where have you been? He started 3 years ago or whatever collecting or whatever he does. And we've been saying that all along. So the hobby's fantastic. There are basically two motivators that drive markets. One is a fear of missing out on something, missing out on making money. And the other is the fear of losing money. And so like what we saw with the big boom, everybody had a fear of missing out on money, right? We saw it with cryptocurrency too. You're afraid you're going to miss that boat. And so it drives prices way up. And then when prices are coming down, a card goes from 90,000 to 70,000 in a month. Now you have a fear of losing money, and you might be dumping it at 70 or 60 because you might think it might go to 30. But I've been saying, and a lot of the old time vintage collectors have been saying, those cards like your 52 Mantles, your Babe Ruths, Ty Cobbs, they're always going to have some value because I look at those kinds of cards similarly to I would look at a Rodin sculpture or a Picasso painting. Like they're on a different echelon. And you look at like the 52 Mickey Mantle. I mean, it's more than just a card, right? It's not rare. It's not, kind of like it doesn't have the story like the T206 Honus Wagner, but it doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if he's the best baseball player or not the best baseball player. If it's a rare card, not a rare, it doesn't matter. That card is just now an iconic piece of Americana, and it sells more like an art piece. And we go back to when we go back to what motivates a fear of missing out or fear of losing, then we have that middle of the road things where you feel safe investing or you feel safe spending the money on it if you're a collector and you want to have that card. Because it's you just feel a little more safe that the price is going to be stable somewhat. Might have a few fluctuations, but it's not going to go down overnight or shoot way up overnight. And so I think that cards like that give you a lot of, just you're comfortable. You're comfortable buying it if you have the money, if you want it, those kinds of things. Because these wild swings that were going on, that's not healthy for anything. People are going to get burned. When it comes to prospecting, a lot of those things are Ponzi schemes, pretty much, where, the last one in gets burned. But I think, we're getting back. I feel like the collectors have taken back the hobby. And I feel like the the sellers, the apps, everybody that came in to take advantage of the boom or to join in on the boom, I think that they've all kind of are starting to enhance the hobby and enhance collectors. That's just kind of what I think right now. That said, I got a few cards I wanted to show you. First, I can't find those perfect fit, superior fit. They used to be perfect fit. Now they're superior fit sleeves anymore. I don't know what I'm missing. If anybody knows where to find those, let me know. So I picked up these for SGC holders, and they are fantastic. I just thought I'd let you know they're fantastic. And I got an SGC graded card, and I wanted to show it to you. And this is a Colgan's chip, Deacon Felipe. I guess he used to spell his name with an I, and then he changed it to an E. It's a beautiful example. I was actually surprised I didn't have this one for my set. Growing up, I was enamored with him because, of course, he's the only pitcher to ever start and pitch 5 complete games of a World Series. Because in the 1903 World Series, they played 9 games. 1904, they did not have a World Series. Then they switched to the 7-game World Series. And so Pittsburgh had a pitcher get hurt, and they had another one go insane, I think in the middle of the game or something. And he went to like a mental institution. So Deacon here had to pitch 5 games. He went up against Cy Young, and he did real well till the end. His arm started to wear out on him, I guess. And the Pirates ended up losing that World Series. But it's a beautiful example. I got a 1964 stand-up Claude Osteen. It's a cool card. I upgraded my Mario Mendoza 1978. Somebody showed this card, and it's just always been one of my favorite cards. Reminds me of when I was young. And mine's in pretty bad shape, so I went out and got a nice crispy version of it. And I also picked up his 81 O-Pee-Chee. And I love the O-Pee-Chees because it will tell you on there when they got traded. They'll just go ahead and keep the picture and put the new team and note it there rather than the airbrushing. And I love the rough cut. Look at that. Oh, man. Nothing better than an O-Pee-Chee rough cut. All right, I picked this up. You know, I don't care how expensive cards are. I mean, if they're a cool card, I want them. I don't care if they're not worth anything, really. I got this Ohtani, and this is a rookie card from the National. And I'm sure there are 20,000 people that have it, but and that reminds me, I hear all these, when people would kind of talk smack on collectors or smack on vintage cards, they would always go, well, vintage cards aren't rare. And they would compare them to numbered new cards. And they would kind of insinuate that we would all say vintage cards are rare. That's why you should buy them. I don't know anybody that ever said that. Not all vintage cards are rare. There are some that are very, very rare. And I have lots of those, but I also have lots of vintage cards that are not rare. And like I said, like even the 52 Mantle is not rare. People will say the Burke Ross cards are rare. You know, I guess rare is different depending on who the collector is. But I don't know where they got this notion that we all said that vintage cards were rare and that's why you should buy them. That's not the case. Now, maybe in high grade they're rare. But there's a big difference, you know, between vintage cards that became rare for some great story or some great reason, like the T206 Honus Wagner or the scarce 54 Bowman Ted Williams, and these new cards that are stamped, you know, numbered, like Beanie Babies. It's like those are limited edition. I said it before, I don't think we should call them rare. They're limited edition is what they are. And, you know, during when Mark McGwire was breaking the home run record and everything, they made all kind of limited edition Mark McGwire plates, cards, gold cards, you name it, limited edition stuff. And that stuff's worth nothing now. And a lot of those limited edition are, because if you're like me, those aren't, I know technically they're collectibles, but I don't consider them collectibles. Like if you look around my room, everything here is an original piece of something. You know, like the posters are originals from the 70s or 80s. Everything is pretty much original. Now this hat, that's a Gary Templeton signed hat, game used. These aren't necessarily what you would call original, but they were really, because you used to buy those at the stadiums. I used to have them when I was a little kid. And this is signed by Ralph Branca and Bobby Thompson. And that's not an original hat, but it's a signed thing. And that's one of the few rare pieces in here that is not an original item. I have a autographed Terry Bradshaw jersey up there. It's not his jersey. It's just an autographed jersey. But you know what I'm saying. Beyond that, I don't have things that were made to be limited edition collectibles. That's just not something that's ever turned me on. And when I used to get those kinds of things, I tended to sell them and buy cards, buy stuff that I wanted. I got this Topps Now Ohtani with the bat flip, and it's awesome. And this card celebrates him surpassing his home runs from last year. But that's a really cool card. And you could get these really cheap. You know, I buy them from Topps Now, but if you wait, or even sometimes they pre-sell them, you can get them from sellers on eBay. They must get a lot discount, a bulk discount. You could get them cheaper than you could buy them straight from Topps. I got went to my local card store on Saturday. You know, it was National Trading Card Day, and they were closed. And I have a second one in the area. I was going to hit them both, so I shot to that one. And I don't know, I didn't see anybody giving away trading cards, and it kind of had escaped me, and I didn't think to ask, but I don't know, I missed out on that whole thing. So it doesn't really matter, because I haven't had card shops around in years, and I always miss out on it anyway, but I was hoping to maybe participate this year. But anyway, I picked up another Kenny Pickett, and this Kenny Pickett, I think that's like my third one. I'm not investing in him. I'm just a Steeler fan, and I'm a fan of his. And they talk about all these quarterbacks, Bobby Herbert and all these guys. Did I call him Bobby? You know, the Saints had a quarterback back in the day, Bobby Hebert. And I always want to call him Hebert. But you know who I'm talking about. Anyway, I think Kenny Pickett might be something special. That might be the quarterback people should be picking up. One other thing I wanted to mention, I bring up that Peppino had said how it's okay to have more than one copy of vintage cards because no two are alike. You know, when you're collecting modern cards, they look like, if you put them next to each other, for the most part, they look identical. You can't tell them apart. With vintage cards, it's very different. The ink can be off, the centering is off, you can have the little fish eyes. There's all kind of things, registration. And I happen to have two of this one card, and I thought it demonstrated that pretty well. And this is Rube Walker from the 1953 set. And if you put these side by side, you could see like this one's way more vibrant of a color. This is a little more dull, but better centered. And I just, I had these out when I was going through my 53 set because I just wanted to kind of share that. And we all know it, all of us that collect vintage. But I don't know about you, but when I have two cards like this, and let's say that I wanted to sell one so I could buy another card, I struggle with which one to sell because oftentimes they both look fantastic to me. And when I have graded ones in the past, oftentimes I'd sell the higher graded one because I like the lower graded look one better. To me, it's a nicer card. So what I end up doing now is I just keep them all, regardless of how many I have. So I started off talking about like the how, when it comes to investing, it's the fear of missing out or the fear of losing money or whatever. And I think that's like an investor mentality. But when it comes to the collector's mentality, like for me, I have those kind of same fears. I have the fear of missing out, but not because I want to flip the card or make money at it, because I'm fearful it's going to go up and I won't be able to afford it. You know, that's why I like buy up all the Kenny Pickett's while they're cheap. All those kinds of cards. You know, you have sometimes, I guess we do it out of defense really, because we're going to want it in our collection. And if we don't get it, like you saw during COVID, I have a lot of dream cards that were very attainable, very affordable, and now they're going to hurt a little bit if I want to shell out the money. So I missed out. So sometimes you have a fear of missing out as a collector too, because you know you want that card. Like you know people passed on the Tom Brady for so long, and at some point you got to buy it because it's going to keep getting higher and higher, right? I passed on the Michael Jordan when I was young because it was so expensive at the time compared to other cards, and I regret that. You know, I had to pay way more for mine years later. So as a collector, I think sometimes we do play a little defense. We have a little fear of missing out. You know, players like this, if he continues to take off or if he ever bats 400, I mean, you probably want to have his rookie cards. And like Joey Votto, a player like that who may go into the Hall of Fame. And you know how they shoot up right after they go in the Hall of Fame. Look at what happened with Ted Simmons, for instance. And heck, even the Crime Dog, and he, you know, his cards were in the boom era of the 80s, where they never had a whole lot of value just because they were so mass produced. But so that's what I have for you. Hey, I'm still a little sick. I came back from the National and a little bit of a bronchial kind of thing, and been coughing a little bit. I was on with Jack, Cracker Jack Cards, and we did a live, and that was fantastic. I was coughing a little bit during there, but you know, him and Liam, Junior Baseball Fanatic 12, man, they give me hope for this hobby and for young people, and they are just fabulous to talk cards with and to talk sports with, and to watch them bloom and watch their collecting grow. And it's amazing to me how much they know. You know, when I was a little kid, I knew a lot of baseball trivia, and I could go toe-to-toe with all my dad's friends when they watched him play, even though I didn't. And it's nice to see, you know, young people like that again. Yeah, I'm very optimistic for the hobby. Very optimistic. The National was a blast, and I can't wait till next year. I know the Misfits, we're texting around right now. People are finding some stuff for us to, you know, Airbnb to rent already. So I'm already looking forward to it. Hey guys, if you haven't subscribed to my newsletter, you might want to check that out. We have I have a special guest article. I just had a guest article from over in Europe, and I have another special article coming from my man JP Wisco over in Japan, and he took a Japanese set that we both have, and he translated the backs of the cards and everything. It's gonna be really cool if you're into that sort of thing. So check it out if you haven't already subscribed. Hey guys, thanks for watching.